All right, Coach, talk a little bit, if you would, about the Navarro game.
You bet. Navarro last week, 33-7. It was up until the last touchdown, we felt like we were in the game. We just turned the ball over too many times. We just the weather conditions actually I thought made it an equalizer for us. We were able to block a little better and do some things defensively a little better, but you just can't turn the football over that many times in one game and expect to win. But I thought our players played hard all the way through the end. I thought they gave us a great effort.
But do you think the weather caused many of your turnovers?
No. The weather was not a reason for the turnovers whatsoever. The weather was just lack of concentration and focus.
How would you rate your defensive game last week?
Oh, like I said, one touchdown we gave them, so that takes off 7 points, and then another touchdown late, I think, was just due to being wore down. So you take off 14 points off the board, and that puts them in a pretty good situation. I've been very pleased with our defense all year long. Outside of the Tyler game, I think even the defensive coaches have been very proud of and even the Tyler game, we were proud of their play. Just it wasn't to performance, but that's been the greatest improvement, and that is what you build on. You build on defense. In my first 4 or 5 years here, that's what we had was really good defenses, and then we've kind of varied from that for 5 or so years. And last year we weren't real good defense, but this year we were a lot better defensively, and we're going to address the offensive issues in recruiting.
Going back to the week following the Lynn game, offense started having some problems, but lately, the last few weeks, you've seen a little bit of a pickup as far as production goes.
Yeah, in the blend game, I think we've talked about it before, we lost several key offensive players, and we're slowly starting to get those key players back. That is a factor in it. And then also as the play caller, I've kind of not softened up the offense, but I've nurtured it down. You know what the kids can do now. It's not simple. I don't mean it by that way by any means, but it's that we've been with these guys for 8-9 games now. Now we know what you can do, so we're making it more toward what you can do.
You mentioned the injuries that came out of the Berlin game. How are you coming into the Arkansas game injury-wise?
We're still in bad shape. So many of them this year were end of season injuries, and yeah, we're still pretty beat up.
Any key injuries coming out of last week's game?
Last week, no. I think really it's just continued from what we've had.
Looking at Arkansas, what kind of opponent does that present?
Well, it's a challenging opponent. It's challenging on a couple different levels. It's challenging, number one, because they've only won one football game also, and so that they're gonna see our record and say, hey, we got just as big an opportunity as they do. So they're gonna bring their best game. Number two, challenging is that this is Black Heritage Week down there, and so there'll be a whole bunch of fanfare and festivity. So they'll have a huge crowd for their game on Thursday night. And then the last one is they're athletic. They've always been very athletic. They're a 4-year school that plays 2-year athletics. So basically that kid could be he can only play 2 years, but you don't know academically whether he's a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, because you just got 2 years of eligibility there. So that presents a challenge as well.
And changing your game plan much for this one? Or are you going to just take what you've been doing last week and build on it?
No. They run a different defense than we've seen all year, so we're going to take some advantages in the throwing game with certain formations. We're going to take advantage of running football in certain formations. Defensively, up until last week, they never had a running back in the backfield. They were a no-back. Quarterback would either run it or throw it offense, which you don't see that a whole lot. I mean, it was unique. So we have to make some adjustments to that. Now, last week, they played Iowa Western or Iowa Central, and they put a traditional back in the game, but that's the only time we've seen that.
So is it kind of a spread offense then that they're running? Or?
Well, yes and no. There'll be times when they have 5 wide receivers and the quarterback and no tight end, or there'll be some times when they have 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers and the quarterback, or they'll have, it's crazy, 2 wings, 2 tight. I mean, they're.
Do you expect to see back running backs in the backfield then?
Well, last week they put one in there. Now they got beat 34, I think, to 7 or something like that. So they didn't produce any more points. I think they'll have some tricks up their sleeves because I think they're just like us, and we do too. We've noticed the last couple of weeks we've done a couple reverse passes, double passes, and that's part of football. I would say they'll have something special for us.
And has their productivity in the running game, has it been pretty obsolete as far as the season goes without that? Are they focusing on the pass more, or is the quarterback just as lethal of a weapon?
It's been pretty balanced for them. It's been fairly balanced. Although they're not a member of our league anymore, they still play everybody in our league. And in our league, they have not fared very well running or throwing the football. And we can relate to that. They've had a difficult time. They have played 2 opponents outside of the league. One of them was Iowa School we just talked about. Didn't struggle as bad as they did against the Texas League, but they have struggled a little bit there. They did beat an NAIA team, JV, a while back, and they scored quite a few points. They have the capacity to score. It's just whether or not they can execute.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
You bet.